The time is finally here. The Shadowhunters series finale, and boy, do we have an insanely amazing show for you. This is going to be a 2-hour Shadowhunters series finale AfterBuzz TV event. We have some amazing guests here, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, wow. Hello, our AfterBuzz TV Shadow Squad. Thank you so much for joining us for the last ever Shadowhunters after show here at AfterBuzz TV. I'm going to really try hard not to cry, but I might. Not now. Stop it, Sam. Okay, so we have an awesome show for you, like we talked about. It's going to be 2 hours. The first hour, we have here in the studio Jade Hassoune, aka Meliorn, who has been here before and we absolutely love, and Kimberly-Sue Murray, who plays our beautiful Seelie Queen, and we are thrilled to have them. We are acting like Sealies. It's really crazy. The whole place was going off before. We were just so excited to be here. As things were extremely wild. We're going to be breaking down, of course, Meliorn's fantastic return, the Seelie Queen's epic goodbye, a Malik wedding, and Clace for life, and so much more. So the second hour of this, we're going to be having 2 more guests of Katherine McNamara and Luke Baines, and it is going to be freaking awesome. And I, of course, have my beautiful co-host Dakota T. Jones.
What is up, you guys? This is so bittersweet. I'm excited, but I'm sad, and we gotta make it through without crying. It's a mess.
Whatever. And Yael Tygiel.
Hello, I am here. I'm live in the chat. People are going off. Everyone's still crying about it. I'm gonna be honest. Because I'm a Seelie now. I'm going to be telling truths here. If you start crying, I'm going to be mean. To make you stop.
All right.
That's what I'm going to do.
Well, I feel like I'm a Seelie too. So, you know what? I'll be mean right back.
Great.
Okay, we have our 2 very special guests here. And this was a Seelie heavy finale.
Yeah.
That's right. As it should be.
Yes.
Boom.
For real.
Well, I'd love to chat with you first, Kimberly. So you are new on the show. You are the third Seelie Queen.
Third.
What has this experience been like for you?
Oh, man. What a treat. What a treat.
Yeah.
No. We've been friends for a long time.
Long.
Really?
No way.
Back in Montreal, back at home.
And I told Jade the story earlier because he forgot. But when he was first cast as Meliorn, 4 years ago, we were hanging out with a girlfriend of ours who's this beautiful, tall redhead. And he was like, "Oh my God, Emily, you have to audition for the Seelie Queen. You'd be perfect for the Seelie Queen.
Really?
She's this ancient fairy queen. She's got red hair." And I'm just like, "I got red hair. Why aren't you telling me to audition for the Seelie Queen?"
Wow.
That's so
And then
funny.
we both auditioned for it. Didn't get it. Lola got it. We were like, "We can't compete with a 10-year-old."
Right.
And then 3 years later, I got to audition for it.
Which was
Wow.
amazing.
That's amazing.
yeah.
And we've known each other, even that story, we had known each other for a long time.
Way back.
10 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fantastic.
That's
and
crazy.
Of course, Jade, you are back, and we freaking love Jade. I mean, Jade was
Yes.
literally at AfterBuzz, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Around.
It was, yeah.
And so what was it like to come back in the most epic way possible? And also, I thought you were dead for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, people did. It was so fun. I've been waiting for it. And I was just waiting for it, and I was just kind of like, when is Meliorn gonna be used in the way that he should? And he was. I never felt like I was gone, but it's funny to hear, he's been gone, because I just see it as he's on a mission somewhere, and just came back from it.
Yeah.
He's on a mission to find a new Seelie Queen.
Exactly.
And
I always assumed that he was doing his job.
Yeah.
He's busy,
Yeah,
guys.
he's busy. He's in some other dimension doing
Yeah.
a job for the queen, and never is there when everybody dies. So, luckily
Yeah.
he didn't die. Still at the end, haha, sorry, books.
Wait, does he die in the books?
He does, yeah.
Really?
I'll say this. Everyone would there oh, well, this happens in the books. I think that's great. I loved not knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
finale was amazing.
It was.
Sitting there going, oh, that's what, fun.
yeah.
I
I know.
loved this.
Well, let's get into our overall thoughts
Okay.
for the finale because, every series finale, I don't like it at first because you never want a series finale. And then you let it sink in. And then I thought, you know what? This is the best option for me that it could have been. I really, really loved it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%. The entire time I was watching, I was like, this is like TV magic.
Yeah.
Because we always want answers, right? We always want to
Yeah.
know what is the end result, what's going to happen. And we always have these cliffhangers and these things that happen that make it impossible. Like, will they ever find happiness? And there were a few turns and twists and everything, and we don't know what's going on with Clary and Jace. But at the end of the day, it really was like a love letter to the fans, the entire
Yes.
finale. And I thought it was great, and it really serviced me
Amazing.
in a way that I've never been serviced before. So we'll leave it at that.
Amazing. So great to hear.
Yeah.
It felt really good like that. It felt good like that for us too, because I feel like, especially the writers, I feel like didn't know that it was gonna end so fast, and so they like held off on certain things. Like I've been waiting for the Alliance rune for 4 years. Like I've just been like, when is this gonna happen? And just like connection between the main characters,
Yeah.
like there's just been so much random stories in and out that like we kind of lost track of the main character. I'm sorry, I'm just speaking.
I
No, go
agree.
for it.
I
No,
agree.
yeah, because I wanted connections between the characters, like build a team, like we're all there, make stories develop between them, make stuff happen between them, and in the end, they had to do it because it was done. So
Right.
Yeah.
finally, it was like, oh my god, here's our people that we like, and they're all talking to each other finally,
Yeah.
and there's no like random storylines of people coming in, dying, coming in, dying, coming in, dying, coming in, dying. It just actually like was a storyline that was developed, which I appreciated.
Absolutely.
finally.
I
Well
absolutely
said.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love the way, with no knowledge of what was going to happen, everyone coming together. I was like, this is how you do a show.
That's right.
This is how you end a show. You
Yes.
bring everyone you love together
Together.
to fight together.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm literally going to have,
Oh my
dear.
god.
I'm really glad that wasn't
My
me.
bad.
If we could bring some paper towels in, please.
My bad. I got excited. That speech really got me going.
Podcast people, we had a spill.
We had a
okay?
spill.
It'll probably be just the first of the night. However, I'm literally having the chills the entire time we're talking about this, which is amazing. So for you, Kimberly, did you watch all of the show before you came on?
I was brought on so last minute, and I had 2 days to learn a British accent and watch all of Lola's scenes because I wanted to base. I was so hyper aware that I was going to play the third Sealy Queen.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of honor what Lola had done and what Sarah had done. So I was like, I watched all of their stuff and I studied that. And I had all of 2 days. So I knew of the show because my friends were on it, but I hadn't watched the paper
I-
towels.
you-
Thank you.
Have you,
You did
like,
an amazing job. By the way.
become-
Oh, thank you, honey.
You did it.
It
Well,
was fun.
A lot of times too, that's a positive way
Thank
to
you.
walk into a role, to not know everything that's went on.
Yeah.
So have you since like watched past episodes, or have
Yeah.
you like become a fangirl of the show? It's very hard not to.
Well, it's really hard not to, and I watched all of the third season, and I mean, it's funny because this was like my first recurring role, I'd say, on a show, and so my mom's been watching, and when my first episode aired, she called, and I was like, okay, she's gonna give me feedback, and she was like, she's French Canadian. She's like, oh my God, Malek is so like, oh my. And I was like, okay, Mom, what about me? So her and I together have been fangirling for sure.
That's so
for
fun.
Sure,
By
yeah.
the way, we're both French Canadians.
We're
so like,
we're French
That's
on parle
Canadian.
so
français
cool.
ensemble.
Oui, on parle français.
Thank you.
You could have totally like offended us, and we would have never known. We'd be
Je
like,
suis un omelette.
Oh.
You're
Never heard that
omelet.
one. I love that one.
Literally all I got.
I love omelette.
All right, so we're gonna start off this episode by talking about Jonathan and Amara, our Sealy Queen.
Yes.
How did you
Okay.
guys feel about that?
Okay.
Sexy.
So I.
I was here for it.
Last week, I was like, yes, all of this. The flirting, the discomfort, I loved it. But then the finale, I was like, wait a second, I'm no longer happy with this. It's no longer playful and fun and sexy. And then her turning into a child and being like, you wouldn't hurt a child. I was like, first of all, he just slept with you. What's happening here?
Right.
Why
Well,
would you
she's
do that?
manipulating him.
is.
Yeah.
She knows he's dark.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think she sees the end coming, and this is her last
Yeah, it's pretty good.
her last attempt at saving herself, and she's manipulative.
Yeah.
Of course, she would turn back.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I understand it. I also be like, you wouldn't hit a woman. I get that. but also, you just slept with him. Don't turn into a child. What is this?
Yeah.
SVU? Come on.
Right.
It's Shadowhunters, okay? There's been an incest storyline on and off
true.
since.
But this
That's
is
fair.
not
That's
like
fair.
her body is just it's not representative. She's ancient, like
Right.
even
Right.
as in the body of a 12-year-old, she still like has the wisdom of an ancient fairy.
That's fair.
So I
That's
think
fair.
sometimes people get caught up
By
in what
appearance.
but I thought it was a really cool choice, but also to honor the fact that that's the Seelie Queen they started with.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
happy
And
they
to have
got
it
back.
come full circle.
I was happy that we got to see her just for a little bit because I thought, and it was a great way to tie it in. Because if it was just random, it would have been like, oh, well, this is random. But because you were like, it was your last attempt to like try to save your life, you're like, please spare me.
Yeah.
And the fact that that was how we got to see her, last was really neat.
yeah,
And poor Queen. Like, she actually like had feelings.
she deserved it. She
You know
probably
what?
got what
She
she
had it
deserved.
She had it
but
for 3 years.
It's like she had it coming.
Yeah,
she had it coming.
I think I mean, we had talked about it on set. Like at first, I played it like she didn't have feelings, like she was still manipulating. And then Todd was like, "No, I think this is the first man that she's ever encountered that she perceived as powerful as her. Like he is her equal, and that is appealing and it's arousing. And so play it, mean it."
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you did like an impeccable job of that.
Thank you.
I really like, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, but you're like my favorite version of the Seelie
Me
Queen.
too.
Yeah.
And people say that, and it's I'm thankful, and but we're all so different.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
she changes outfit
According.
for according to situations
Yeah.
and who she's dealing with.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is that I always, when you were spoken of first before we saw you for a little bit of time, and this is how I imagined you, how you were on the show, and I think they almost tried to throw us all off by like throwing in Sarah Hyland, who was amazing, in the part that she did, but it was like fun and interesting. Yael, did you have something to say about that?
Nope.
No, okay.
Nope.
Well, she was dating Dom at the time, which I think is and it was so fun to see her on the show. But like, would
was.
that have happened if she weren't?
I don't know, because I think she was around a lot.
She was around a lot. She was around for like a full almost 2 years before she was in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we would hang out like on set and everything.
might as well give her like a role.
Absolutely.
Alright, it was cool.
And I think it's cool that there's actually 3 of you, and then the last one we saw is actually who you were and who I personally had met. I didn't know you before, but I mean, like in my Shadowhunters dreams, this is who I saw.
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it's cool though, and
Well-
everyone's been really welcoming. So
I mean, the
it's been
thing
great.
is, compared to Lilith, you're not mean.
Well,
I think.
I think what's really great is that her intentions were, she was like, we could rule, like this is what I've been
Yeah,
waiting for,
yeah.
is this opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, as a person who sees opportunity and goes, yeah, you should grab that opportunity. I was like, yes, girl, like do it. Let's, and she has this bigger picture idea, whereas Jonathan does not.
He does not. No.
He does not understand what bigger picture is.
No, he doesn't. I also thought, I'm so glad Jonathan's getting laid. Like, let's
Can I just
this
say-
is what he
Yes,
needs.
yes, you can.
Can I just say that lying under that blanket of moss and flowers was the most uncomfortable. We were both like really itchy, and so Luke is lying there with his claws, and
I didn't even notice that.
I didn't see
Oh,
any claws
it's-
in bed.
yeah, I think he did. Yeah, because then they had to like put his shirt on. It was a
Like
whole.
hooves?
Yes, I
Like
was.
hooves?
No, he
Did
had
you
like
not
claws.
see? He's got like I'm like
Like talons.
How did you make it out
Okay,
without any
okay.
scratches?
I'm like, what happens
Sealy
to
magic.
foreplay?
Right.
It's not happening. But So he's lying in the moss, and I'm sort of like, oh, you're so beautiful, and there's a bug,
Oh no.
and I'm just like, Luke, don't move.
He's like, what if
I had a flick, and he's like freaking. Yeah, there was some like real moss and real flowers, and it was really
Wow.
itchy and not super uncomfortable, and did not breathe.
Where were you shooting? Were you outside or were you on a
No,
stand
we were
stage?
on the sound stage in the Sealy realm.
They brought nature to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But sometimes we're in real nature. There's been
Yeah.
a lot of like cold nights, cold experiences, uncomfortable
Yeah.
nature moments. But I mean, every shoot has that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so that's
But
really
it adds to it. It's
It
so
does.
beautiful.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, Jonathan killed you. So sorry.
I liked the way it went down.
Honestly, though,
I would have liked to see.
To see the death.
An explosion. I don't know, some melting.
I would have loved to have seen, I'd love
Yeah.
to see, like, the child version of the Sealy Queen go back to you.
Oh, cool.
Oh, like
And then
go
you, like,
between
screaming
them.
and
Well,
freaking out. Because
so-
we only saw,
Yeah.
like a burst of light.
Yeah,
And,
I
like,
like-
need confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that didn't actually give
Oh,
me
that's
enough
that's
confirmation.
interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because then now it's like,
Well, maybe she's
did
not
she
dead.
die? Because Lilith
Yeah.
didn't really die.
So she could be on the spinoff. Awesome. Great.
But
Fantastic.
on the day,
Good, yeah.
on the day I pitched the idea of having when Lola screams, I pitched to Todd. I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have all three of our voices scream? Like we
Oh.
all live within this entity.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I think they did it. Honestly, I was so like,
Yeah.
I did not listen for it.
I would have loved to have seen you melt or, like,
Yes.
something happen
Cool
to where you
death.
just, like, actually, like, freaking out. I would have loved that.
I like that she became kind of ash, right? Which goes back to the earth.
Earth.
Which
Yes.
so she'll regrow.
Oh yeah, she can grow
Like
again.
Groot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like Groot. She comes back in the next
She's
Avengers.
like-
I am Groot. I am Sealy Queen.
This
Love
is
it.
my fourth self. Well, next, before we get into all of the amazing Meliorn stuff, I want to make sure we talk about Simon, which is, we're going to like dribble a little bit between the first episode, a little bit of the second episode, but I want to bring up first Maya and Simon and Jordan's memorial. I haven't been here for the past couple of
Oh.
weeks, but Kyle died, and I was sad.
That's the other death.
I was sad. I was
That
mad.
was sad.
I was mad.
Yeah, I was a little mad too.
I was real mad. But that's before we knew it was like the end, and like
You're like, how are you going to kill Jordan Kyle?
I was just like, what?
I
Because they
remember
But it wasn't the
being-
first time, so I was like, of course.
I remember at the table read, I was like, oh, like that. I felt like the sadness of, and I think everyone felt it. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Just seeing Maya and him kind of form this relationship again, whether it be romantic or just as a friendship, seeing that healing happen
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
them, and then him just dying was really hard. And I would have loved to have seen them not even necessarily get back together, but just form that closeness
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And he was saved in the freezer. We thought he was gonna die then, and
I
he
know.
didn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like at that time they didn't know that was gonna be it. That you guys
Right.
were gonna have to wrap it up. So I feel like if they would have known that, they would have probably had him go then. But it was kind of sad that they like brought him back and then killed him.
This death has been so dragged on.
I know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone who's sad. Look, we mourned him. She like set him on fire. She mourned him. Then we still had this this memorial. And I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
This death has been
Oh my
dragged
God, you're
on.
funny.
And
yeah, I understand.
I
It was for Maya more than anything.
Well,
it was
yeah.
for the. But it
To
was for the
fuel her
werewolves. Because think about it, the
fire.
werewolves like
I mean,
weren't there.
yeah,
They're all
all
dead.
of them they're all dead.
They're all
the
gone.
poor girls
Man,
got
what's with that?
Well, okay, I will say, because Yael wasn't with us last season, Chai, I think he reminded me a lot of you, Jade.
Did he?
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
very similar. I really love. I really love him. And that's why I was so mad, because I love Chai
Aw.
so much that I was like, how dare you
Right.
kick him off the
Well,
show?
don't you agree? Because what I'm saying is Chai was so charming in person, I can't really differentiate sometimes the person between the character.
He came to.
Yeah.
He came here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came here
yeah.
last season, and he was so freaking awesome.
He's the-
Yes.
And so part of me is like attached to him as a
Mm-hmm.
person.
Yes.
So I don't know how I'd feel otherwise, to be honest with you.
But yeah, but that's how. I mean, that's how we feel. It's so funny because we have a different experience. For us, it's like, okay, we're hanging out, like we're shooting a show, but like we're hanging out, and this is the people around us, and like
You're very down, like, kind,
for me,
loosey-goosey a little. I love
yeah,
it.
and no, we're very similar. Also, we're all Aquarians. Alberto, David,
I was
myself,
gonna ask.
Isaiah, Dom, we're all Aquarians,
Wow.
all born within the same week.
Stop
What?
it. Oh my god.
Whoa, that's creepy.
Yeah, I know.
That's so
Any
cool.
Scorpions?
We're all meant to be together.
I'm a little turned on.
I'm not sure.
Me too.
I'm not sure.
Aquarians are my second best match besides
Oh,
Aries.
yeah.
I don't even know who my match is.
Okay, we're off topic.
So. Well, Simon. Okay, go on with what you were saying though. But you guys.
No,
Try.
I don't know. I think there's better creative ideas than killing characters off.
Yes.
Hey,
And-
no.
Yes. Like.
No.
Okay. How many characters died
It's
off our show?
effective. It is effective.
Is it effective after doing it 25 times? And then it's like, oh, I have a new idea. How about we kill another character?
I would also say on a show on supernatural and fantasy sci-fi shows, killing off a character on a show where you distinctively can bring people back and have them come back, it kind of ruins the impact
The
of
impact
death,
of death.
which is
Yeah.
narratively a problem.
Yes.
So I think
Yeah.
that there are better storylines.
Of course.
I would also say that his death, I assumed was going to be in that freezer, and then it wasn't,
Right.
and then it happened, and then we're still like in the finale, we're still dealing with it, and I of all people understand that grief continues, and I
Yeah,
totally get that,
Yeah.
but storyline wise, Maya had so much more in her to have her storyline then result to how she deals with the death of a loved one
Yeah.
and nothing else.
Well, we get to see that she does team up with Simon, which I love. I love their friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that they found someone they care about, and
Yeah.
it just switches which way you care about them, and it's completely honest, cool, and it's very similar to Simon and Clary,
Yeah.
actually. But next, I want to go into Sizzy and their first kiss.
Yes.
That was so.
Actually, it was great. Yeah,
I mean,
Ugh.
it was.
They won me over so hard. And then it happened, and then I was like, yes, set it
Honestly,
on
though.
fire. Oh, yeah, all about it.
Burning
Amazing.
love.
Yeah.
Honestly, whenever anytime a camera surrounds someone and goes around them as they're kissing, I'm like, that is what I imagine when I'm kissing someone. I'm like, this is what the
Exactly.
hell's going on right now.
That's
Yeah,
not what
yeah.
happened.
yeah, so,
Well,
you
in
know,
my mind.
sometimes when you kiss, you feel fire
Yes, of
inside of
course.
you.
Yeah.
However, instead, Izzy actually started to turn into fire.
Yeah,
And that was alarming.
which was
I-
amazing special effects for this.
Really?
episode.
Yeah. Really
Amazing.
cool.
I was shocked at how good it was, and I texted Phil, who's like the head of the department, and they're from Montreal too, and just incredible. They
Yeah.
killed it this episode. Killed it.
Yeah, and
I
Emerald
really,
did too.
she was amazing. I love the
Yeah.
idea that the sword being in her has side effects. I love that wasn't just dropped.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was.
And it's heavenly fire,
Yeah.
of course.
Of course.
And it's infused in her cells now, and it happened to someone else. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart, and I didn't write her name down. Not Aileen, the blonde girl that was, with
I know who you're
Raphael
talking
before, who's now.
Oh, that bitch.
Heidi.
No,
No.
not Heidi.
No?
The one that was helped Simon and Raphael get out. Helen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Helen. I'm so
Okay.
Helen's the doctor who was helping
Yes,
her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
She's the
talking
half
about.
silly.
Yes.
She's half
Blackthorn.
silly, yeah.
Yes.
Helen Blackthorn.
Oh, Helen Maylene.
Yes, I do love that.
Also
But
good.
she's the one that
Yes, please.
broke the news to Izzy that it basically was the sword, and essentially she told her, you can't be with who you want to be with.
It's tragic.
There's all these,
Why?
Because of the demon blood.
because of the demon
Yeah.
blood.
It just,
Exactly. It's like, oh,
kills it
boner.
out.
Next
It's
time
like
it doesn't
Romeo
work out.
and Juliet.
I know.
It was-
Honestly, though, next time it doesn't work out with me and someone, I'll be like, it's because I have demon blood. That's what the heck's going on right now.
At this moment when, she's going to sacrifice herself. That's how we're going to kill Jonathan, is she's going to explode. I thought that's where the story was going. I was so wrong.
Yeah.
But that's where I thought it was going at this point.
And I just have to say, I'm really, and as much as I did love our Steely Queen and Jonathan, two of my favorite characters to ever be on the show, y'all were villains. So I'm just great, except for Jordan Kyle. We didn't really lose any of our people.
Which I was talking to Jade about this earlier. I was expecting more people to die because I feel like that's what they do at the end of shows. They're like, you die, you die, you die. It's like Oprah giving out cars. Like, everyone dies.
It's interesting that you say that because I was reading a lot of interviews with the showrunners, and they were talking about how the ending specifically, and we'll talk about that later, but the idea was to leave it kind of open-ended so that if the show got saved, they could. And I think that's why they were like, well, we're not killing any of our people because who knows what'll happen.
Exactly.
So smart.
It was smart.
Yeah.
But do you want to know what else is smart, you guys? AfterBuzz TV. Not only do we cover this show, but we cover a bunch of shows. We're TV freaks and fanatics, and Dakota's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Yes, we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching for 3 whole years. We love you. But before we move on to the next topic, we just have to thank you for letting us be the ESPN of TV talk. But for us to continue to grow, we do need your help. If you're on YouTube right now, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and if you're on iTunes, please give us that 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversation, because this is the last conversation we will have about this show. But being a part of AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us. This was my very first after show that I ever joined in on at AfterBuzz. So we really appreciate you guys for supporting us all these years. We love you, and don't forget to tell your friends about this show, other shows, because there's so many hundreds of shows that AfterBuzz does, so please stick around.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff we have going on here. But my favorite stuff about the finale by far was Meliorn. I have to say.
So good.
Because, of course, I also love Jade, but Meliorn is such a cool character. And I think at least, he's a 9.9. Do you know what I mean?
My God.
Wait, can you tell we love you? Like,
You're so nice.
We literally, when we met you two, we've been talking about you ever since.
I've been waiting to come back. I love you guys too.
Aww.
Honestly, it's really cool.
Okay, well, Izzy goes to Meliorn for help first. And this is our, was this in the pilot when we saw you guys hooking up?
yes.
Izzy and Meliorn, yeah. So this is something that has been ingrained in us. Izzy and Meliorn, it's some sexy
Tension.
I love when he was like, well, you called, so I came. I was like, that's what you need someone to say. I'm going to call people, and they're going to be like, yes, you needed me, I'm here.
I'm so glad. I mean, in the books, we only get, they only say this used to be a thing back in the day, and you never see it really happen again.
Well, we've seen it.
And now we got to see it, and it got to develop, and it got to a point where it got past just the sex and the information and whatever, and it really was like a bond, like a loyalty and a love, real love. Respect, that's there. Yeah. Respect. I'm so glad. And also, finally, Meliorn got free. Sorry, no offense. But, free from the queen, and, finally decided, I'm going to do me. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do what I believe in. And she's off going crazy, and I'm going to be off doing my thing.
I know.
The Scooby Gang.
The entire time, you've always had, this friendship or alliance with, the Shadow World.
Yeah.
And being able to... be like, well, I'm not going to help, but if I happen to leave this portal open, it happens, you really are so kind, knowing that, I am putting myself at risk here with the Sealy Queen, but I want to be able to help my friends out, because at the end of the day, does the Sealy Queen love you, or do your friends love you?
No, the Sealy Queen doesn't love him.
She doesn't.
They were in an abusive relationship.
It was a real abusive relationship, but he owes her his life. Because he is, again, that's what people don't know, and it would have been developed in the future, but he is half Sealy, and his mother, I believe, or father, I'm not sure which, was part of the Sealy court.
Yes.
And his other parent was a human, a mundane, and which allowed him to be able to lie.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, so the Sealy Queen keeps him as an asset, as a weapon.
Oh,
you smart cookie.
Yeah, because she knows he can lie, and that's why he's the representative. That's why he's her guy who goes off and represents the Sealys.
Wow.
Because he can lie in the meetings and stuff like that.
She's
but
smart.
not in the show.
Really, though?
Yeah.
Well, that's in the books.
Yeah, in the books, but not in the show. But I still kept the storyline for myself.
It was your secret.
It was my secret that I kept, and I knew that, okay, I owe her my life, because otherwise I would have been thrown off into the human world and I would have died off, really. But not only am I a prince in this world, I'm also immortal because I live there.
That's the perfect pitch for a freaking spin-off. So whoever
Yeah.
is listening, take note.
No, seriously, I would love. And it's funny because Todd told me, or Darren told me, he's like, yeah, it's too bad. Or one of the writers, I'm not sure which. I talked to most of them yesterday, and like they all told me some stuff, but they were like, yeah, it's too bad. We wanted to do the Meliorn being able to lie and stuff like that. And I was like, you know
That
what?
would've
I'm
been so
glad it
cool.
didn't happen, because for all those 4 years, I just wanted to be part of the gang. Like I just wanted to fight with them, and
Yeah.
when stuff happened and like he just became this weird like non-ally, it annoyed me because I was
Yeah.
like, I just want to like fight with everybody. So I was super happy for the end.
Absolutely.
And you had some funny lines, man.
Yo.
You always do.
He brought so
so
much
glad.
humanity. Like when all of a sudden Jace couldn't lie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
That
It
was
was
so good.
It was
amazing.
super good. Jellyorn.
Yeah.
No, it was one of my favorite. It still to this day was one of my favorite things. In season 1, like the episode 10, the portal episode with Jason Meliorn, and what that weird bromance was, and like what happened between them, and I just loved it so much. So when they brought it back, I was like, good move, you guys.
Wait, what did he
Yes.
call you? A 9 point?
No, I
Yes,
called him a
right.
9.5. He called you a 9.
A 9,
Him
a 9. Yeah, I'm like on a
Like,
scale from
you're
1
a
to
9,
10.
you're a
Because
9.
it's funny because in season 1, like on a scale from 1 to 10, something, he says that to Melior, and he's like, and then
Is that what
Jace
Meliorn
says,
called him?
no, he's like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much in trouble are we? I can't remember, but he's like namaste or something stupid like that.
That's funny.
And so they brought that back, but just their relationship. Yeah, I was super, super happy that this happened, honestly.
Super, yeah.
But then it was like, okay, he can't lie. So then I'm like, okay, so that whole storyline about Meliorn being able to lie is
Right.
gone.
Pretty much.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's talk about this circle that was created because we had an
Yeah.
interesting addition, which was a Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Ugh, I can't believe they leave him a lizard, guys. Leave him a
though?
That
lizard.
was funny.
Be
That
inclusive,
scene-
everybody.
The help. Like,
and he's just like, there's a lizard. I think you need to come here now.
Yeah.
And it's like, help.
I love that he was
Honestly.
like, I don't remember a lizard. I was like, you of all people should know.
You should know.
if he is a pet. Oh, it's great.
Well,
So funny.
Speaking of, so I read an article that had the showrunners interviewed, and what we saw about Edom was supposed to be several episodes, and it was going to be going into season 4 about what it would be, and in a way, I kind of enjoyed it being crunched because I felt like I was binge watching, which I love. So it's very frustrating sometimes to watch this show week to week because you're like, geez.
I
Christ.
know.
I mean, how long can I be in Edom for? So we went to Edom, we left, but let's talk about Edom. So essentially, Clary does the thing where, what is the rune called? Do you know?
The Alliance Room.
Oh, right, the Alliance Room where you.
Episode was called Alliance.
Finally,
Yeah.
I've been waiting
Sorry.
for this. My favorite part of the series, of the book series, is
So this
book
happened
3.
in the book series.
Book 3, yes.
Book
It's like
3.
the big battle. Everybody aligns, and like it's in Alicante. They do that.
Amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love that you're
Yeah.
like a book reader because that's such like a great aspect to add to. You're like actor, book reader,
Book reader.
enthusiast.
Book reader.
You know, it's so hard to finish a book.
Honestly, though,
Yeah, but they're
same.
good. They're
Agree.
great. I really love those books.
Yeah.
So basically, let's talk about the pairs that happened. So Clary and Simon got paired up together, which I loved. He had to feed her some blood.
Yeah.
And
So good.
yeah, you were like, so good. I guess
Oh,
you'd be
God.
a vampire then. That's good.
That was so funny because when that happened and like Clary like goes,
Oh, man.
I swear to God, guys, that took like an hour and a half to shoot. And
Really?
it was 0.5 seconds. I tweeted about it. It was 0.5 seconds in the show, and I was like, oh my God, it took forever to shoot. And
Was
I
she just
like,
running? or-
Yes.
Oh my
Just this whole
gosh.
part, like it was forever. But it's like not even 2 seconds.
But her face, she was so satisfied.
Yeah,
She's
no,
like,
it was really
"Yeah."
fun. No, it was really well done. Also,
Yeah.
the scene with when Izzy calls Meliorn, and I'm gonna post that behind the scenes of that because like we couldn't stop laughing for some reason during that.
Happens.
We just couldn't. And that scene was like not even 30 seconds, and we were like, I looked at him and I was like, that was it. I'm like, we spent like 4 hours shooting that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go.
And Jace Meliorn, like we talked about, the Sealy.
Wait, I love what Jace was like. speed, magic. What do I get? And the response, about you'll see later when you're in bed. Yes, I was like, yes, Sealies.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're good
I love
lovers,
that.
aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but it's cool because they like like Meliorn got his fighting skills as well. Like they like evolved in fighting skills, and they were like tuned in. You can really see it in the fight, but the choreography was made so that it was kind of like a mirror image of the fight, where they were kind of both doing the same thing reversed. So we were fighting the guys, but it was like the same. It was like all the same sort of stuff happening, and it was combined. So at the end, you see the end. The end is when you really notice. But the end, I impale them, and then he cuts their heads off. But the whole time we were hitting them in like a synchronized way. It's just too fast to see.
It was very cool.
It was cool.
The whole thing looked amazing, and I interviewed the showrunners before the season started for MEA Worldwide, and they told me so much amazing stuff. Just in that they love this show so much, and they wanted to give the fans. People get bitter when they get canceled, right? Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly.
And as people should be, but they just knew how. And I have the chills again. God, it was so important.
Don't start
to them-
crying.
Shut up. It was so important to them to make this freaking amazing, and it was. All the special effects were amazing, especially in this scene. And I was happy that Lorenzo was suddenly a part, because
Me too.
that's the point of this show, is that people are should be inclusive, and they can be forgiven
Yeah,
if they want to be.
forgiveness.
Don't stop.
Sorry, no, I'm just laughing because I'm such a grudge holder. As we all know, I've been holding grudges all season. So, like, Lorenzo's still on my.
See,
list.
I think he redeemed himself, and the fact
Elder
that he
Tree would have been on my.
Oh, yeah.
we don't mess with him.
No. Like, the fact that I'm okay with Elaine and Helen and them.
Helen and Aileen, but yeah, you
Aileen,
made it into the couple.
Helene,
It's
there you
good.
go, ship
Yes.
name.
Yep. I love them. Still mad at her.
Yeah.
Still mad.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Forgive and forget. I'm also pretty grudge-worthy, but this show's made me not grudge-worthy. So if you guys, see a therapist, but also like watch Shadowhunters.
Yeah. It does wonders for the soul.
Yep.
It does. So essentially, Lilith comes and turns into what I was trying to write down what Izzy said.
I mean, I want to say a dragon.
I said a dragon, but
It's
it
a
was
wraith.
like a
I think
wraith.
it's a wraith.
Yes, she said a
Wraith
wraith.
demon.
I was like, a wreath, a Christmas wreath? Oh no.
I love that we got. It felt like a nice conclusion to her.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm done again. I'm like, I'm done with
I know,
her.
trust me.
I'm
Yes.
done with her. So I like
Anna's
we
also
got
from
there.
Montreal, by the way, which is where we're from.
Yeah.
And we're all like,
That's
Team
so
Montreal.
crazy.
we're all
Yes.
connected. We all knew each other
Yeah.
from
I
way
feel like
before.
people on shows usually do not know each other.
I know.
And the fact that you're all
It was
like,
very
oh, we all know each
special.
other. I'm like, what is
yeah,
this?
Yeah.
Like old friends too. So it's like you got the
And
shot.
even like Luke, Kat, and Dom have
They
known
all knew each other for
years.
years, like
Wow.
10 years ago. like,
Yeah.
way before they were all like fully acting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Meant to be.
Yeah, for real.
Meant to be. It was kismet. So Meliorn gets hit by the wreath
Yeah.
wing,
Yeah.
and he starts to die. And I'm like, oh
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
Jade.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
Then we figure out how to save him.
Yeah.
It was very fast because I texted today. I was like,
Did he die?
did
I was like, no,
die?
No.
because we had 2 warlocks.
Yeah.
But you know what though? The reason we knew you had not died was really a quick moment where you were at the
At
wedding.
the wedding. Yeah.
At the wedding.
Yeah.
So we were like, if someone would have not seen that or looked away from the
Yeah.
TV, they would have maybe thought this entire time you
Yeah.
died.
For sure.
There are
Which
people out there
happened
who think
before
you
in
died.
the series. Yeah, I got stabbed before.
Wow.
You have. I
Yeah.
Googled a bunch of times. I was like, Meliorn die.
Now it's
Shadowhunters, and nothing came up. And I was like, did I imagine it? Because the last night I was watching it, I was drinking some wine. My mom was watching, and she goes, "Is it good?" Because she knows how long I've been doing this show for. And I was like, "It's great." And I'm like, "Did Meliorn die?" But no,
You
he
bounced
did
back.
not die.
Yeah,
You
but
bou-
also I had to fly back to Europe like when everybody was shooting like the dancing scene at the wedding, so that's why you don't see me in that
yeah,
part.
I was like, why wasn't he at the wedding?
yeah. Oh, but I was there. I was sitting next to Raphael.
Okay.
We got,
Right
a
behi-
quick,
right behind
we got
you.
a quick second.
Yeah.
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 You get Emmy's just like smiling
He's
and
like-
wearing different clothes.
Yes.
Of course.
You know,
Quick change.
Yeah, it's nice.
your human side, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, I'm happy.
And I just love how everyone was going to help Magnus, and it showed what a beautiful family we all are, and I'm included.
For sure, we all are.
Yeah.
Everyone is, the fans, like.
Yep.
But that's what I keep saying. It's like nothing is ending here. Like we've built something so strong, and we've all aligned and connected, and like let's take what we have and go forward. You know, there's so much good coming.
And we have so much as far as like social media, webisodes, Instagram, and I'm
Fan
not
fiction.
Yeah.
fan fiction.
Oh my gosh, that stuff is wild.
It's great. It's
Let
so
me
good.
tell you what.
It's great.
I know.
Really
Dakota.
just enjoy
That
that
stuff has
stuff.
helped me out more than once.
I don't trust Yael sometimes. I think that you write half of it.
I don't write fan fiction,
It lives on.
but I support those who do.
Says a fan fiction writer.
Oh my god, I've heard some
I
crazy
don't
stuff.
write it.
I mean, that's for a different show.
Yeah.
Yep.
The after show across the street of the bar.
Well, we get back and everybody is happy. There's Simon and Izzy sexy time, which I'm just like, God damn it, this is so cute. And the thing is that they were gonna let us hang for a long time after this, and that's one of the reasons I'm like, okay, I'm not happy the show is ending. That said, I'm happy I'm getting this right now because I would be so frustrated.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that when we saw everyone happy back together. It felt the way like couples are, right? You had Clace, they were like cuddling and, you know, they've been together for a while. And then you had Sizzy who was like going at it because they're still new.
Yeah.
I was like, someone thought this through.
Nice.
Someone really
Yeah,
thought
they
these
really
scenes
did.
through.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. I feel like with Sizzy, we were like, is it going to ever happen? Is it going to ever happen? Season 1, we made T-shirts that said Team Sizzy, and like we're just now getting it. And so I feel like they really, with the amount of time that we were given, or they were given, I'm like, the amount of time I was given as a director, they really made the most of it.
Yeah.
They really did, and they really made it seem like it was something that had been growing for a while, even though it was such a short amount of time.
And that's what we're all very lucky to have had is to have been able to finish the story because some shows get canceled and that's it.
And that's
that.
it. Yeah, that
We
happens like 90% of the time.
So we got to really wrap it up, and it's beautiful to be able to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You know, it really made something very special.
Wrap it
This-
up.
The story was completed. You know, it's like satisfying.
Absolutely.
And to get to watch it as a team last night
it was really nice.
I mean, I'm new to the family, and I was just like, whew, okay.
Yeah.
It was real nice.
It's
And we
really
were all
beautiful.
like,
Yeah, we were screaming
screaming
at this,
stuff, like laughing so much and trying to live tweet at the same time.
Yeah.
And we, I don't know about you, but I watched it as a fan. I was like, because we shot it like almost a year
Yeah,
ago.
that's insane.
I forgot half the stuff. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, me too.
That happens, and of course, and
me
like,
too. I was like,
I was really reactive.
yeah, same. Like I turned to Dom a few times. I was like, I don't remember that at all. I'm like,
We shot that?
yeah, for real.
Well, this is going to be like the last storyline we talk about. So we have about 5 minutes left, and we just want to talk to you guys about, you know, what was your favorite scene or day memory for shooting Shadowhunters?
It's tough because I get that question a lot, and we spent so many hours together, but not only like on set, off set, traveling, partying, like playing games, just chilling. Like there's so many good moments. It's just like when we're all together, it's real fun, you know. And that was my favorite stuff. Like in terms of shooting, it was when we were, again, more than just there for a second. When we were together, actually interacting with each other, and
There was a day, I forget when, but
in the forest.
no, we were on the day that we were just like hurry up and wait, and all of us, I don't know what they were shooting, but we were all outside hanging out.
Yeah, it was that day. It was super sunny.
No, we weren't in the woods. We were at the studio. We were just all of us outside, and that's when I got to get to know everyone, and we're just outside. The sun was shining.
Seriously, it was really chill.
And because we weren't doing anything, we were just waiting, and those are the moments where you get to appreciate like I get to do this for a living.
It feels like summer camp in a way, like you know, you're hanging out, and also we were like living on the same street, basically all of us.
It sounds so much fun.
It was super fun,
Yeah.
honestly. That's like, it's crazy because we don't really get to share that with the fans that much. I mean, we tried as much as possible online, and that's what's so cool is that we were able to share that stuff as it was sort of happening, and we were hanging out or whatever. So they got to really get it. It's like more of an inside experience, but it's like so much is.
Yeah.
like the show itself is only like 1% of the actual experience. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm so sad we didn't get to go. I just wanted Freeform forever to just like get us to Toronto.
I know.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
so cool.
There was
That
so
would be
much
cool,
opportunity.
yeah. And the sets were so beautiful.
They
I remember
were.
my first day. I mean, I was nerding out, like,
Yeah.
because the sets are so practical.
Yeah.
You walk on, you're like,
You like,
this is the Institute, or this is the Sealy realm.
yeah.
And even like my first scene with you guys, Luke, and you in the Sealy realm, the rose petals are falling.
they're actually
They're
falling.
actually falling, and there's like 20 extras dressed as Sealies.
And then you just walk in and sit on the throne like, all right, I'm here. What's up?
I just got here, but I'm gonna sit right in the throne.
But it's like if you take a minute to take
It's
it in,
amazing.
like you actually don't even see the camera because it's hiding somewhere in the bush.
Yeah, it's true.
And you get lost in the story.
Yeah, you're really in there.
And like you're like, whoa, this is my job?
yeah, it's really
This is
cool.
what I do?
It's really cool and crazy, and it's funny because like the special effects really add to it in a way, but
Yeah.
like what you see, I'd say would be like 10 feet high, and then it kind of cuts off, and then everything else is added. Even in the Institute, it's like it's pretty high. It's pretty high up, but then they add a whole
add-
other like 20 feet of
Wow.
like church and whatever on top of us. But
Wow.
everything else is built for real. And in Edom, for example, like we had I was shocked because when I watched it, I was like, okay, this looks like we're walking like 50 feet ahead and there's a whole desert and whatever. But we had like it was like a cube of sand. I would say like it was like 12 feet by like 18 feet. It wasn't that big, but it was like, you know, a little cube of sand with like fake rocks and stuff like that. And then there was at the back just like a banner with projections of those wraith demons flying. Like that was actually projected.
So cool.
But then
Wow.
everything else was added, and it blew my mind
It's
at how
so
it looked
cool.
because it really looked like we were there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was real
And
cool.
the wind
and the fans
like,
were there. Yeah,
it was so red and yeah. Oof.
yeah. It was magical in that
So
way.
cool.
It's like Harry Potter styles, you know, like everything's
Absolutely.
there. So you
Yeah.
and the costume, so you feel like okay, here I am, and then you just get to play. It's magical.
Very little acting involved, really. I believed it. I was a,
No,
I
it
was
was
a
easy to-
Sealy
it-
queen
it was
for
easy-
like a couple
yeah.
of months, guys.
That's it. It was
Yeah.
easy. It was easy to believe for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it definitely was a lot of your look, which is amazing, and you just like communicate with your eyes. You know, it was.
I was
great.
trying-
real good.
Okay, I
Kim's real
talk
good.
with my face a lot. I've been told that I do a bit. I do it a
Kim
bit
was-
too much.
No,
But Lola is so still, and so when I was like practicing, I was just trying to just talk without moving your
No,
eyebrows.
you
But then on
were
the
so
day,
good,
I was so
babe.
nervous. I was like, ah.
Eyebrows.
But she's so good and it's true. She was like, okay, am I ready? Like, is this good? I'm like, yeah, good, baby, you got this, and then she would kill it, and I would just be like, wow.
I was channeling Kate Blanchett.
I love that.
Who doesn't love channeling? Like,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I grew up. I mean, Lord of the Rings is my everything.
Exactly.
And that I was
was
that.
Legolas.
What's her character's name in Lord of the Rings? That elf.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I had in my head.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It didn't quite translate, but
No,
you
it
know,
kinda-
close enough.
I mean, I was translating Orlando Bloom.
oh, were you
Orlando
now?
Bloom / Johnny Depp.
Ooh.
Oh.
Slash
what a
Pirates of the
mixture.
Caribbean.
It's
That
good
was
to
like one of
have
my
a
inspirations.
reference.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a great mix. And so are you guys. I'm so happy to know that you both were friends. Like, before this. This is so
It's
cool.
really cool.
We are going to take a very quick siesta break. And thank you guys for tuning into our coverage so far. If you are live, please stay here in the live chat for just a couple of moments. We'll be right back. We're going to be bringing some more guests in. There's going to be some things happening.
We got
and
so much more to talk
we
about.
have a
a lot.
whole
Yeah.
other hour to go, so stay tuned. Hello, everyone. It is a party up in here. If you haven't noticed, I'm sitting next to Katherine McNamara, Clary Fairchild, woo! And
back.
it's very exciting. We also have Luke Baines in the house.
Hey.
R.I.P. Jonathan. And we have our two friends, you know.
We just stuck around.
Meliorn, Jade, Kimberly. We are so freaking excited. I haven't cried yet, so that's really awesome.
I'm
It's
so
coming.
proud.
It's coming.
Thank you. Stop. But with Kat next to me, you never know.
It's true. I'm off and on all day. I'm falling my eyes out 1 second, and then I'm fine. Who knows? It's a toss-up.
Well, this might make you cry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What?
The first thing I'm going to talk about is Clary and Izzy and the Parabatai kind of semi-commitment.
Semi-commitment.
Semi.
It's our para-proposal.
Oh.
Para-proposal.
Para-proposal.
It's like a promposal, but with Parabatai.
I like that.
Yes. Will you? If you don't, you were making Izzy nervous. And
She's like, what's going on? Was that a part of the books, by the way, like where they're going to
No.
be parabatais? No. Okay, I was going to say, I haven't heard that being brought up by the fans
Yeah,
yet.
well, because in the books, Izzy never has a Parabatai. Because she goes, I don't want a Parabatai, I don't need a Parabatai.
Yeah.
Because she fights on her own. And then I think Clary, because in the end of the books, because Simon loses his memories, so they invite Simon to become a Shadowhunter. And I think Simon and Clary become Parabatai in the books. Which would have also been cool.
yeah, it would have.
It would have.
In a way, there's many Parabatais. And I mean,
It's a Parabanat.
It's a para. Well, our first season, we had our love circle. Is that what we called it? No.
Love
Octagon.
Octagon.
Love Octagon.
You know more than we do.
We sent it to some girl like really far away with all of your guys' signatures, by the way.
She was
and
so excited.
She was so thrilled.
Good.
Yes, it was amazing. So we have that, and it's just such a tease because it doesn't happen, at least that we see.
No.
But I want to make sure, before we move on to anything else, we touch upon Luke, because I feel like he's going through so much. And
Man, ooh.
it's just so much else is going on. It's like, what are you supposed to do?
Papa Hunter Wolf, man.
And the Praetor is, like, what did they inject him with? What was
The
that?
Heavenly Fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was Heavenly
That was
Fire.
that was the vial that I almost said chai.
That Jordan
Jordan
had.
stole from
That Maya
Institute
then
and gave-
took, and then Luke was like, no one should have this power, so he took it, and then they
Used it on
injected him.
himself.
I'm sorry, I was so upset with this situation, because you have Luke going down, and he's like, listen, you're supposed to be the good guys, and you're blackmailing me. I'm not in. And they're like, well, we're gonna do it anyway. This story, I'm so sorry. The story disappeared, guys. The storyline disappeared, and I was like, so he's a shadow hunter, he's a spy for them,
right.
Well,
what's happening?
See, that would have been season 4.
Yeah.
Right,
Ooh,
right,
yeah.
right.
So they were setting him up for such a really cool thing, and then, things happen.
Well,
Right.
But he's a shadow hunter.
He is a shadow hunter.
Exactly. Which is cool.
And how great does Isaiah look in runes?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
yes.
Great. And he's shaved, too.
I know. well,
I couldn't without the facial hair.
Was that a fake facial hair that he was wearing?
No, that was he had to shave. He was shooting it too at the same time.
Okay.
Right.
And so he had to shave for that, and then
I appreciated
I was
they
like,
wrote
he's
it
been
in.
wearing a beard wig this entire time?
I love that they wrote it in that he woke up and was like, what the? I liked that. Because I also went, that's not, I don't know this man.
there's something different about him.
it's true though. I mean, all of us have only known him for 4 years with facial hair,
Yeah.
and then he shows up, and we're all going,
Who are you?
"Oh my god!" I mean, you still look amazing, but so different.
Yeah.
So I also need to bring up, and this actually will probably maybe induce tears for some, Clary and Jocelyn. So we interviewed her a few years ago too,
For her ending episode, for
yeah,
her
that
exit.
was crazy. And do you think, as an actress, as Clary, that that's actually, and it was, I believe so, was Jocelyn coming back? It wasn't.
Oh, completely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it definitely was, and I think Clary would have known if it wasn't.
Well, because hasn't there been times before where we've kind of seen like dreams or something where they've come back as one other person, and you never know.
I mean, we're always wondering, is someone glamoring as someone else? Like, who is this? Is this someone else trying to, like, manipulate someone? But I felt like it was a really sincere, and I felt like, she was there to be like, hey, I'm here, but also to convey a message. I just wish that you could have hugged her one last time goodbye.
I do too. But see, it again speaks to kind of the brutality of the shadow world.
they are angels, but they're actually kind of bitchy.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I love about this world is that, they're angels, but are they the good guys?
Yeah.
I really appreciated that storyline. I thought when we first saw the glowing light, I was like, ooh, something, bad. This is something bad. And then when it was her mom, I was like, oh, this is magical. And then when she was like, also, you're messing up and everyone's mad, I was like, this bitch, you bring that out in me.
Me?
Yes.
I feel like it's everybody around me.
But
I hope
it's only
not
when
me.
you hear
Yeah.
that I say it.
But I also love that because it is a thing, and ghosts or mediums, whatever you want to call any of that stuff. People see orbs in different places. And especially in photographs. Yeah. So I thought it was really cool. And I was like, that's her mom. That's her mom. Oh my God, it's Jocelyn. I'm dying right now. Yeah. Oh my God, it's Jocelyn. And it was so emotional for us when she came into the studio a couple of years ago and, you know, found out about her. And it was a whole thing. And so I was so freaking grateful to have her back here at Shadowhunters for our series finale. Yeah. And that there's no bad blood, like everyone loves each other. Yeah. And they brought her back to say one final goodbye to us.
It was so lovely to have her back. And it's very funny because Clary hasn't had a maternal influence since her mom died. Because Maris is only just now becoming her mother. She's had Luke, she's had Valentine, as Fiona said. But,
she's had plenty of brothers.
And a lot of brothers, a whole slew of brothers, let me tell you. But then it's without that maternal instinct, she's changed so much in that time. It's a different relationship at this point, even though it is still her mother, and it's clearly the last person she expected to see. So it's the highest high and the lowest low, and such a compact scene, which was really fun for me.
I'm sure, because I mean, you were amazing in that scene, by the way. No, seriously, it was like the way your face changed when you saw your mom again. It was really heartwarming.
The emotion. Your emotions in the entire episode, I was just like, what?
Well, I have to say, you can ask these guys. I was an emotional wreck anyway.
Oh, I bet.
Right?
It was real.
I bet.
Well, we, of course, need to talk about the big elephant in the room, who's actually in the corner of the room.
I resent that.
Right there.
He's not a big elephant. He's more of like a Black Panther in the corner lurking.
You killed us. You're the big elephant in the room.
She's like, excuse me, I died.
I'm sorry. Actually, Panther is much more accurate. You are dangerous and sexy.
Hey!
I'm so sorry for those who weren't here earlier. We're Sealies and can't lie. So
we turned into Sealies.
I like that.
I
in solidarity with James.
Do you?
Yeah.
You didn't see my tweet yesterday?
No, what did you say?
I was like, Luke Baines is hot.
really,
I would have retweeted that.
Now you know.
I'm gonna go back.
You better find it.
Yeah.
I missed her blonde hair, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I loved the blonde hair.
Did you bleach that for the show? Yeah.
So like when we found out that the show was coming to an end, one of the things like after I was announced, I got a lot of feedback. Some of it I did not want to hear, but some of it, like one of the biggest pieces that they kind of focused on was the fact that my hair wasn't blonde and it was blonde in the books, and they kind of wanted to do something with that. So when Todd and Darren gave me the call and they told me what was going to happen, that I was going to morph into a demon, I was like, okay, great opportunity for me to go blonde and give the fans what they want for the last 2.5 hours. So I did that, and then my hair fell out, and that was a fun story.
That is a real commitment.
Oh, you can't hear me.
Now we hear you better.
Now we hear you better.
Your glorious voice, dear.
Yeah, but did you need to hear that?
We heard all of it,
did.
but now we hear it better.
Now
You
we
gotta
hear
be
better.
like Britney, like real close.
Oh, baby.
Oh,
How was it?
We just had a moment. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God. Oh God.
I really enjoyed the entire transformation that we had, because I know that, you know,
Glad somebody did.
in the season finale,
Oh, shut up. We all did.
in the season finale that would have been, we had the moment with the wings, and I got yelled at by all the book readers explaining to me what it meant. So to see that he was officially fallen and dark, and which was what everyone was yelling at me. I didn't read the book.
Well,
so this transformation of seeing, you know, Jonathan black goo it up, and like rebirth was really appreciated.
I think so. Look, you're not the only one. I've had people online ask me the same thing, and we did explain it in the show, but so much was going on when I explained it, which is one line basically, and it's to Alec, where I say, and obviously everyone's so distracted by Matt Daddario, they didn't listen to what I was saying, which was, I've been tethered to my demon sister and now I'm free, or something.
Yeah.
I was holding you back, babe.
There you go. The connection to my sister was holding me back,
Right.
and now I'm gonna kill everyone. And so that was like a visual representation of that. When I got the wings, it was like, he's embracing his true self. Then when this one and I had a little cup of coffee, or it was actually hot chocolate, reminiscing over my days in Paris with my sister, she says, you're about to become a demon to end all demons. And then they really showed it.
Well, let's backtrack a moment to when you do that.
Sorry, you're trying to take control of the situation.
I mean, listen,
It is her show.
There is like
It's
7.
hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of us in this room.
But I love you all dearly, so I really could care less.
Now
Okay,
you know
cool.
how people feel when they have to interview the entire cast.
Oh my
of Shadowhunters.
gosh.
We turn into a class of kindergartners. It's fun, but there are times where we go up to the show publicist and just go, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
No, you guys, honestly, whatever. I'm going to talk about it later. I'll give my speech
Yes, please.
in a little bit.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
Okay, well, first of all, Jonathan goes after Alec and Izzy's dad and Max. There's a new Max. He's older.
No, it's
same Max.
Really?
The kid grew
Yes.
up.
Yeah,
Jack
did.
grew up right before our
he's
eyes.
like
Yeah.
in puberty phase now.
It's the same kid.
It's
I
the
was
same
thinking-
kid.
That's crazy.
Well, I know. I saw something on Twitter last night that said hashtag puberty ruin. And I was like, I thought that was just a
Joke?
a new actor.
No,
No,
it's him,
it's the
it's
same
him.
kid.
No.
It threw
Listen,
all of us for a loop.
You got to
'cause-
close your eyes and listen. It's the same voice, just
Yeah.
a little
It is the
bit
same
deeper.
voice. No, because he's got that really beautiful raspy quality to his voice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was really funny because when he turned up on set, I was such a fan of the show before, and I was like, "Hey, Max, how you going? What's going on? I'm sorry about that hit that I gave you." And he was like, it's okay."
He was like, chill out.
Yeah.
If you want a selfie, we can work that out.
Yeah, it was like,
But
"It's $45. Speak to my agent."
I'll be
And
in
I
my
was like,
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it threw all of us for a loop because even I didn't work with Jack a ton, but the time I had saw him before or had seen him before, he was a head shorter and he had the cutest little voice. So I'm like, "Hey, that's good," and he goes, "Hey,
Yeah.
oh God, you grew up.
Yep.
I don't know how. You're a teenager. I don't know how to talk to you anymore. I'm gonna go over here. You're way cooler than I am."
As soon as he came on screen, I was like, "Oh yeah, there was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have a dad."
Yeah.
Well, Mazel Tov. You know, I'm Jewish, and we have bar bat mitzvahs, and he probably isn't, but you know, he should probably have one right now because he's turning into a man. It's
He
a
really is.
beautiful,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. But first of all, Jonathan literally is slaughtering
Everyone.
every single huge city everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I do think it might have been downplayed. You know, Malik was getting married at the same time. You might think, let's delay the wedding, you know. All of our peers are being slaughtered
Yeah,
everywhere.
I love that Clary was like, "I can't enjoy this wedding while my brother's trying to kill everybody," and everyone was like, "Well, we could all die, so we might as well." Well, okay.
Compartmentalize. I
Right,
think Shadowhunters are
At
very
this
good
point,
at compartmentalizing.
yeah, the world's tried to end about 7 times, so they're like,
Yeah.
"Meh,
Like,
Tuesday."
let's just
And it's
get
always
married.
something to do with Clary's family. So they're
I
like,
know.
"Sure, just handle. Would you please handle your family so we can have a wedding?"
Can you imagine how docile the entire Shadow world would have been if you just never would have became one?
The seriously, the number of times that we've had this conversation on set, the number of times that Matt, Dario, or Dom has looked at me and gone, "You just mess everything up. It's just
Yeah.
all Clary's fault." Yeah.
It really is.
She saves. Oh, whatever. We'll get into it.
She followed the
Okay.
hot guy covered in tattoos into a bar, and then the whole world
The
fell
whole
apart.
world fell apart.
But to
That's
be
how
fair-
usually life goes.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's not her fault. It's her parents' fault.
It is her parents' fault,
Truth.
100%.
All of this happened to her because of who her parents are.
Truth.
Yeah.
Truth.
I mean,
But it's interesting that she gets a free pass and I do not. But anyway, we'll get back to that later.
well, okay, so let's talk about the beautiful, devastating, tragic moment that happens in the street of Toronto, which was actually where you were filming at the time.
Shout out to Toronto.
Yeah, we love Toronto. It's such a beautiful city.
It is.
It was so that was like obviously an homage to the fact that our cast and crew are from Toronto,
Oh, okay.
and they wanted to do something. Weirdly enough, though, didn't choose a street that had the Toronto Tower in the background, the CN Tower.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, you finally shoot the show in Toronto.
And
It's
we're
not
gonna-
New York for Toronto.
Yeah.
It is Toronto for Toronto, and there is nothing in the background that says Toronto.
And what else is
love
funny
that.
is we've shot that street for New York about 17
Yeah, I-
other times, that same block.
It must
About
be.
17 times.
It must be zoned for shooting or something.
Yeah.
Like it must just be that block. Is it? Wait, why
Yeah,
are
it's
you?
probably
Why are you
super-
miming things to me?
Because I don't want to like talk over you.
Why talk
But
over
it's
me?
also
You do it
probably
normally.
super more expensive to have the CN Tower in the shot.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
landmark.
It just
probably,
happens to be there. It's like you put the sandwich board on the street and you're fine.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it has to do with that.
Nah, we need to call someone about that because that's
Because
ridiculous.
Wasn't there an
Yes,
establishing
reshoot.
shot first that
Yeah, I
showed
think it might
Toronto
be
like
the-
a
There was
skyline?
there was a
and it said
establishing, yeah.
Toronto.
It did say, yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It
it
did.
was the chyron down the bottom that said Toronto.
Yeah.
Like when we shot, I don't know, a little fun fact for you: the Los Angeles Institute is also my apartment, which was a Lilith's apartment, and they just revamped it to
Oh my
make it
gosh.
Malibu. So if you look at it structurally, it is the exact same apartment. They just repainted
They
it.
just redid the floors and repainted.
Redid the floors,
Took
repainted
away all
it.
the cobwebs.
And took away the cobwebs,
Yeah.
and there's a different green screen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also funny, one of those things where you're like, now it's
So
Los
much
Angeles.
stuff like that. Little fact: the portal in season 1 that Meliorn opens is also in the Mortal Instruments movie.
Ah.
They reused it and made it
Wow.
into that.
Another little known fact.
Wow.
They're all coming
I'm
out because the
loving
show's
this.
done.
Keep going.
Hunter's Moon, like the walls of Hunter's Moon, actually were a different set at the beginning of season 2. Do you remember, like, for 2 episodes, Valentine had his boat,
Yeah.
and he had all the cages hanging down.
Oh.
The walls of the ship, they just pushed them together and made Hunter's Moon.
Wow.
What?
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Trash into treasure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we see you die. I mean,
Ah,
it is
Oh.
it is a beautiful
I'm sorry.
actual.
Don't talk to me.
You guys are still having it out. No, it's an issue. Yeah, it's still an issue.
It
for
is
you
beautiful, right?
We've been going to a siblings therapist about it.
I think you should start that conversation with what appropriate love is between siblings. Then
Let's start
move
there.
on.
Interesting.
Let's start there.
Interesting. I
Please.
thought we were friends.
We are friends.
No.
Sisters
No.
are not.
He's currently a little blocked by the fact that I killed him. I hugged him to
Okay,
death.
let's talk about this hug.
So beautiful.
I agree. This
Yeah,
was
I liked it
the
too.
perfect, I think, in a show that is all about fighting each other. I think this is such a beautiful way
Totally.
to like kill someone with kindness and with love.
Literally.
It takes
and
the saying to a whole other
it,
level.
it really, I think, was the most surprising way to do it for me. I was
Yeah.
thinking it was going to be a big fight,
Right.
and she was going to have to like stab him and be sad about it. But the idea that she was like, "I'm doing this because I love you."
Totally.
Which is honestly not usually the case.
No.
People don't usually ever kill someone because they love them. But there was really no other option for you.
Well, and this is the thing. It's that the one hole in Clary's heart this entire time has been her brother. And the fact that she hasn't been able to give him a chance. She hasn't been able to reconcile that relationship and do whatever she can to right the wrongs that our parents did to him. And in doing that, essentially, I guess what I understood that rune did is take away your demonic essence. Right?
Yeah, I took it as you were suffocating me in light, which I couldn't. I took it as, because I'm a Harry Potter nerd, the first film where Harry is so pure and full of love that when he touches Voldemort, Voldemort crumbles.
Yes.
That's what I took it as. There was just too much purity in that.
That's so beautiful, you nerd. I love it.
Are we friends again?
We are friends again.
Okay, good.
Cassandra Clare clearly like Harry Potter.
And that was something though that I played on the day. But I will say this. Folks VFX, who is the company that did our VFX, they also do like the Umbrella Academy and huge
wow.
things.
Like 12
They
monkeys.
Oh,
they
so
are next level, and I saw that scene before the VFX and after it, and it is two very different
Transformative.
things.
So true.
We were when we were shooting that, we just did a light situation, which I don't care. Like every single film I've been on, from something that was $1,000 to $100 million, everyone loses light, and it's just a thing that happens. And we lost light during that scene, and so it's getting darker and darker and darker. And they're scrambling trying to get coverage of me and Kat, and it was really, really difficult to get that scene. They absolutely transformed that scene and nailed it.
It's true. And the way that they did your face as it crumbles
Crumbles.
and
Yeah.
the wings and the changing your hair back to red.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they changed. They did
Did
that.
you know at the time that they
We
were gonna
did
do
know.
that?
Yeah, we did know.
Also,
Because
they
I
made
know
him
that
white.
I know that because I literally had to lay on the ground and I had to be like, you know when they do like the plate shot and they're like, don't move for
No.
7 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I thought that was really
No,
cool.
Yeah.
that was something that they were going to do. That was actually something. So in the first 2 scenes of the show, I'm actually wearing a wig because my hair already had to be blonde.
He looked like Chucky.
It was, Nancy,
I love
he
that.
looked like Chucky.
He did look like
Nancy,
Chucky.
who did my hair, did a phenomenal job. Like short hair wigs are the hardest to do because there's nowhere to hide anything.
Right.
And she's still. Have you seen the photo of me before? It was cut. Yeah. If I'm feeling really good about myself, I may release that photo, but it's absolutely horrendous. You'll never be able to see me the same way again.
Luke, you're
Really
beautiful
sad.
and you're valid and you're deserving of love,
Thank
and
you.
you should
Just
post
Thank
that
you.
photo on the
Post it.
internet.
do it. You should do
God,
it.
it's so bad. Anyway, but so I was wearing a wig, and they were talking about putting that wig back on, and I was like, over my dead body, and they were like, actually, yes. And I was like,
Funny
no,
story.
please, I don't want the last shot of me in Shadowhunters to be Chucky. Please, don't make me do it. And that's when Philippe,
And then
our guy,
Philippe, our French-Canadian lovely...
the VFX guy, he's like,
Hey, not the problem.
I can
I'll
just-
put some red hair.
I can just change it.
I love that.
We will just do
I
it
just
in the
said
post.
there's no problem. I'll change it later.
It is
Fix
gone.
it in
You want
post.
red hair?
Yeah.
I'll give you red hair.
It is
Yeah.
done. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, but I have to say one other thing about that scene. I don't know
Please
if I've
do.
ever told you this.
Oh, what?
It was what initially made me start crying. Because, okay, so I came around the van, the big, SWAT van during rehearsal, and I instantly started bawling. But it wasn't, at first, wasn't because I was so sad that it was done. It was because I saw you standing there in your big jacket with all the steaming and all the dead bodies, and just went, I'm so proud of him. He looks so good. He's all demoned out. Oh, I'm
Thanks.
so proud of my big brother.
Aw. Well, it was funny though because that Kat and I had talked about that scene and what it was on the page was very different to what her and I worked through it.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is when I went through that transformation, all of my humanity left. So in terms of emotion, I had to just get rid of everything and play him very stoically. And in that scene, there really wasn't much for me to go from being I've killed everyone in the world, or not everyone, but a ton of people, to, okay, I'm going to trust you and let you in. And so I said to Kat, can we mention something about the dreams? Because I needed something. I was like, I need something to pull me out of it. And so Kat was like, yeah, I got that. So she gave me that line.
Because Jonathan didn't know that
Right.
at that point. That was the one piece of information that he didn't know, that Clary did know. And that's the one thing that could snap him out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I really appreciated that being brought in and like really tying it together because it was that, when he was locked up and then she realizes that she drew it, I was like, well, that's interesting and out of nowhere. So like to tie it back in again, I was like, yes, this is a thing she's been dealing with her whole life. We've heard about it twice now.
Yeah, well,
Totally.
and my favorite line in that is, our family is our biggest source of heartbreak. Because if there's anything that the Morgenstern kids know, is that family is always bad news.
They
Yeah.
are.
Well, I really did love though that. Sorry,
Do you want some water?
I have some
Tea?
No, you guys are making me cry.
Rosé?
I'm good.
Get that away from my computer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
what I loved though was that we see Kat at the beginning of this season. Clary.
Hi.
Lying to Jonathan, knowing she's lying to him to deceive him to get back to her family and people she loves. But this was real. This was different. You meant every single thing that you said to him, and it was true.
It's the one last attempt. It's the one last chance to reconnect, to reconcile, and to save the world. And Clary knows that if she, on top of all of that, Clary knows that if she has to make this rune, she's going to lose everything.
Yeah.
And she knows going into it that, okay, I'm going to try and appeal to him emotionally, but if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to do this, and it's going to be the end.
Can we talk for a second, though? If angels are angels, angels are supposed to like good things, like positivity, helping people.
Necessarily.
That's what we're trained to know. But
Yeah.
I mean, you saved people.
Yeah.
But it's the butterfly effect, isn't it? In terms of like, there is what we perceive to be good, and then there's like the greater scheme of things, which is that like Clary was creating runes that were changing things. She brought people back from the dead, which like that's like
Big no-no.
We know that from like watching
Yeah.
every supernatural
course.
film ever.
Yeah.
Also,
You're
Aladdin, we know
Aladdin,
that.
we
know
You
that's
don't
just-
bring people back from the
No.
dead.
Exactly. Like we know
Yeah.
we cannot do that one. She didn't. Then we like there's I feel like I hated it. I hated it very. Like when I read the script, I was so angry. I loved that it when it came to pass in the last scene that her and Jace kind of found each other again, and like love
yeah.
conquers all, and it's the best thing in the world, and it's great. But until I saw that, I was very angry because I was like, how dare you? She has been through so much, and now you're doing this to her. But I also do understand it from like a balance of good and evil point of view, that you kind of have to police this situation.
Yeah, but remember, Simon, today we were talking, and,
Yeah.
and something I realized is that because Clary and Jace are like a new species of beings.
Yeah.
They're like the prophesized, unexpected, new, like the future. And the angels are so behind, like they're trying to keep everything the way it was. But the whole story is about the new generation of people and the new generation of things and like going forward. And that's why it broke their spell.
Totally. Do you? So is that where we're going with this in terms of? In that last scene, are the angels giving Clary her powers back, or is it just?
We'll get into it.
This,
Let's
okay,
hold.
we'll get there.
Alright.
But I have a
We're
theory
gonna
on
hold.
this.
I also have a
having
theory on
after
that.
seen
Yes.
everything.
Well, I have a theory too. So like whatever. Maybe I'm not going to tell you my theory.
We're good.
Maybe I
Well,
have
the
one.
theories.
Wait 15 minutes, and guys, you're gonna love it. We of course have to talk about the Malik wedding. Yay! It had so many amazing, beautiful things, and it very much reminded me of the wedding. Was it the first season?
112.
Yes. Where Alec was supposed to marry
Lydia.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was my
Flashback
favorite. That's my
Friday.
favored episode of the show.
I read a thing saying that they were going to try to get Lydia back to be a guest at the wedding, but that she was unavailable.
Yeah, they
my
were.
God.
They tried to pull so many people back.
Yeah.
I forget who else they tried to
There were
get.
so many. Yeah, they were trying to
They-
get everyone
Yeah.
back.
They pulled a lot of people, and we saw that in the wedding. So, Alec and Magnus, they obviously are getting married. They're giving their little notes. I want to get a wedding invitation that way.
Right? Little fire message.
Yes.
I'm sorry, real quick. Everyone has cell phones. If you're not gonna send official wedding invitations, then an Evite is fine.
Okay, but let's be real. It's Magnus Bane. He's not going to settle for a paperless post.
He's extra.
Fine.
Fair enough.
And
Oh,
You've been
wow.
voted down.
Yeah, I see that.
Jace is, of course, his best man. And Madsy, Flower Girl.
Oh,
Kill me.
beautiful.
That's when I started crying.
Yeah.
Is it?
Madsy
Yeah.
doing this.
I think
like-
I did start getting a little
Oh.
teary-eyed.
I
Mara's
really-
walking him down the aisle.
I really
Oh my
appreciated
goodness.
that she wasn't holding flowers. Like, that's the best part. She's the flower girl who's making flowers appear.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And doing it so beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want one.
No, but seeing Maris with Magnus was a beautiful moment because Magnus has
Yeah.
had this struggle with his father. Obviously, he couldn't be there.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that someone who originally was not for their
Yeah.
relationship to be walking him down the aisle and being one of the most emotional people at the wedding because
Yeah.
she'd grown so accepting and loving of her son and his partner, and it was great.
I have the chills again.
Ugh.
It was interesting too, all the parallels that happened, and I think maybe I noticed them more because they sat Clary and Simon together again. So it really was circuitous for us to have, having done that before the Malik wedding and sitting and seeing all the parallels together.
And Todd, the showrunner, talked about that. He said that one of the most stressful parts of directing that episode was coming up with the seating chart
Oh, I bet.
because he was like, the symbolism of that means so much of where everyone's sitting and what's going on,
And the fans will screenshot and
Right.
make meaning of it 110%.
as they should.
So the reception is also amazing. Raphael comes back. He is in the seminary, and he loves life being a mundane. And I'm just happy we saw him again.
I know.
And that he approves of Sizzy because we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, man.
I think
that.
everyone was like, yeah, we approve. I was like, well, duh. Simon has been a good guy from start to
Yeah.
finish. Simon's the best.
He's
And
also,
also Isabel's had a bad run too.
yeah.
Yeah.
She
know,
deserves love and
Like she
support and a
started
good
off
guy.
with this idiot.
Whoa.
Okay, this is
me.
where I get my microphone back.
First of all, I hear
I'm sorry.
Sealy are great lovemakers, so
So I heard in the
Yeah.
final episode. No, but
Yeah,
That's
Could
right.
Mel-
So you know because of
you know it.
Could Meliorn
You
and
know I
Jace,
got it.
yeah, girl.
Well,
could
by the way,
Meliorn and Jace have been like together just a little bit longer?
That was
maybe?
so good.
Just a little bit.
I agree with that, actually. It was one of the hottest scenes ever, and it was in the pilot episode, and it was like, damn, this show's gonna be sexy. And then they just, didn't give us enough of Meliorn and Izzy, so.
Yeah, I feel like they went real sexy real quick, and then we're like, wait, hold on a second here.
Because it was like, are you talking about in the pilot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
but it's funny
newly
because
Freeform.
it was actually episode 3, but you're right. Because
Oh, was it episode
Yeah,
3?
but because in episode 3 is when all the other characters came in. Like, at first you had 2 episodes to like to establish all the Shadowhunters and everybody, and then the Downworlders came all in season episode 3 is when all the Downworlders came. That's when you met Raphael. That's when you met Caitlin. Or what why can I not?
Caitlin?
Camille
Yeah.
and then Meliorn, they all
like
sort of
Camille.
came at that point, and that's when you saw, okay, there's more to this world than just the angels.
Well, Malik's wedding gave us a lot of fan service. So we talked about Lorenzo in the first hour of this episode, and I am happy to welcome him to our world and to be a family member. And him and Underhill, last season I said maybe Underhill likes Alec. You know, we don't know. But he does like guys, and I think he likes Underhill.
I know.
And I'm happy about it.
I like this. I ship it.
I like that they brought Underhill back because I think that was something that was thrown in there that fans were like, no, don't come in between Malik. But like, he deserves love too, and it's cool to see him have someone that he's interested in, that something could potentially grow there.
I feel about him the way I feel about Lorenzo, so I'm fine with them being together and leave. They can go be lizards together.
Oh my god.
I do have to say the wedding reception was our last day on set. It was our last day of shooting.
I remember, I think it was, I don't remember whose Twitter or Instagram I watched, but it was behind the scenes, someone shooting the last scene of like watching the village, video village, and then you ran out and you're like, and you're literally in the shot.
What was she like? Perfect.
But you were crying really hard, and I think you were crying for like several reasons, you know?
That shot in particular was the very last shot that was filmed of the show. And all I had to do, there was zero acting in that shot, because all I had to do, I started off, I was holding Dom's hand. It was like a cut of the end of the dancing scene. And I happened to glance behind him, and there was David and Alberto and Emerald, and then there was Jade, and there was Javi and Steve and Matt and Harry and just everybody that has been a part of creating the show, and Nicola and just everybody. And all I had to do was turn and walk away. And it was so representative of what that shot was that I couldn't stop crying. But the funniest part is that I then turned the corner, and this is so indicative, you guys know, of what our show is and what our crew is. Turn the corner, and there's Helga and Chris and all of our 80s and our production managers with trays of flutes of champagne ready to celebrate. And it kind of just came full circle in that.
That's sweet.
But that day was hard.
It was so hard to know. All of your runes were disappearing slowly, and I didn't even realize. I just thought she wouldn't be a Shadowhunter. Like, she wouldn't be allowed in. I forgot about the glamour runes, everything, and that you would not remember anything. And that's why you were saying your goodbyes to Simon, and you're going to cry.
Yeah, probably.
I can feel it. I knew it before it even happened.
I can see it.
I can see it.
Well, the thing is, these are the scenes that, and I give Todd and Darren so much credit. They wrote this episode so beautifully. But these are the scenes that not only touch on the points that make these character relationships so special, but my relationship with Alberto and with Nicola and with Dom, it just all was there on the page. And it was such a balance to get through those scenes without revealing too much as a character while keeping my own personal emotions at bay.
I mean, were we supposed to remember that you were gonna lose your memories?
I think the audience was supposed to know, but there's a fine line there, because if Jace or Simon figured out what she was actually saying, there's no way they would have let her leave. There's absolutely no way. They
Why
would have
couldn't
said,
she tell them?
because she knows that they're just gonna make it worse. Because it's not as though there's some demonic force or some villain that they're combating. This is literally the angel Raziel. This is the being that created Shadowhunters. There is no arguing with that, at least at this point that they know of. And the last thing Clary wants is, having gone through all this to save the world, and have Jace or Simon or anyone else that she loves be punished for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was really beautiful to see, and I totally forgot that she would forget everything. I watched it and went, oh, she's going to be like Maris, like she's going to be, she's not a Shadowhunter, and be de-runed and still be part of the family. And seeing her say goodbye, and then him reading the letter, I was like, what? And then she couldn't see anybody, and I was losing my mind. And it was just so heartbreaking. And your performance was so amazing.
Thank
and
you.
I think the thing is that if she had said something, knowing what we know from this show, Jace would not stop until he fixed it.
Yeah. Well, little known fact for those of you who have not read the books.
Thank you.
There's a whole thing in the books where Clary doesn't know how to profess her love. She doesn't really know how to say those kind of words. And so she never does until the last scene at what is actually Jocelyn and Luke's wedding. But in this, we have a different wedding. And it's the same speech that they pulled from the book. It's the one time that Clary actually tells Jace in the words that she can how much she loves
The cells?
him. Yeah, every single cell in my body loves you. That whole thing is straight from the book. And what he says to her.
Yeah,
I
got
chills. Yeah.
Well, the thing that she said, it's like, even every single cell that's not in my body, that's like anywhere else, like, I still love you.
Well, and that's the thing with all of us working on this show and with the fandom and everything that the show has created. That's exactly how it feels. It's never ending. The love that we have for the show and for these characters and for each other, it doesn't change and it doesn't go anywhere. And even as things cycle through and things end, those endings only spark new beginnings.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
So far.
Okay, well, 1 year
Ready?
later, I'm so glad it was just 1 year. You know, at least it wasn't 10. That would have made me real
But you know
sad.
what's really sad about that?
1 year later of what?
The show, you know how it goes 1 year later and she's in the art gallery?
Nice
So-
bangs, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't
That was
even
a, that was a
Very
vibe.
nice.
But the show from Clary, Kat will tell you this, from when it started until it finished was how long?
About 4 months. Maybe 6
Yeah,
tops.
we talked
Yeah,
about
we did.
this.
So then it jumps a year.
Yeah.
What?
Like,
So Malik have been married a year, have known have been together a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just clarifying.
And little known fact about the hair, that's actually what we were planning to do. Nancy, who's the head of our hair department, that's what we were planning for Clary for season 4.
Bangs.
Just that whole like short
The
thing.
whole thing?
was so
Yeah.
good.
So good.
Because in season 4, do you remember what it was supposed to be?
So for me, season 4, the whole point of Clary's arc was going to be redemption for everything that she'd done as Dark Clary, because Jonathan would still be alive and we'd
Right.
be dealing with all of that aftermath. And
Wait, he was supposed to survive?
Yeah, everybody here and that you saw at the end of episode 20 was supposed to
Yeah.
continue that story.
Clary and Jace's last scene of episode 20 was actually their first scene in the finale when she's like, how do I come back from this? That was where it left them.
And our last scene was...
The coffee.
So we have coffee and she comes
In Paris.
In Paris, and
Yeah.
she says there's a transformation happening, and I'm like, okay, cool,
And-
story.
yeah.
And then she says, what are you gonna do now? And I say, I'm gonna burn it down. And she goes, the Institute. And I say, no, the world.
Yeah.
And then we kind of look at each other, and
Like, we're gonna-
the script says off this unholy alliance, which I loved. I thought that was
Amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
didn't Emrad's storyline, it ended when she burst.
When she was
Yeah.
burning
Yeah.
up.
She
Exactly.
burst
So
into
it's kind of
flames.
like, what?
So
Yeah.
much was happening.
Yeah.
And Meliorn and Jace were gonna be bonded because Meliorn Jace said, I'm gonna be indebted to you forever, and Meliorn was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. And
So,
so, you know, in the whole arc of the redemption, she was going to go full tilt, almost Alex season 1. Very by the book, very military, very just throwing out any to kind of earn back the trust of this world that she's worked so hard to become a part of.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
Which is,
I know.
one of my favorite things that was cut, though, I'm pretty sure it was cut, was the last scene with you and Jace, which is the first scene of your first scene.
Yeah.
But doesn't he say something like, can we go on a vacation?
Oh, wait a second. Oh my God, you're right. That was
That
cut.
was one of my favorite
That was
lines,
like-
though, because I was like, yeah, they've only been on like 3 days. They deserve a vacation.
So you're right. They
Exactly.
cut this out because it was kind of our ending. He goes, you know, after we deal with your brother, after all of this, let's just go somewhere. Let's. And I actually said to him, anywhere but Paris.
Anyway, but Paris.
And we had a little chuckle about
Sorry,
it. It was like,
Jonathan.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Bad memories.
Okay. Bad memories. Well, 1
That
year
was
later.
good memories for me.
It was. It was the best memories of your life, and that's so sad.
Yeah.
You know, just a little hostage situation
Yeah.
with your sister. It's great.
No big deal.
Obviously, but she loved you deep down, you know.
Somewhere.
You ate some croissants.
So
Croissant.
1 year
Croissant.
later, Alec and like everyone is doing super well, which I
Living
didn't.
their best life.
I
Yeah.
know, but I kind of was upset about that because they should miss you more, and Jace is the only one that really seemed to miss you the
Well,
most.
Simon missed her,
Simon
missed
but
her.
also understood.
Question though, why didn't she remember Simon? She should have remembered
Yeah,
Simon.
it's
She
a
should have
good
remembered.
question.
Okay.
Can we just take a second and like, for all the book fans out there, just like see the Shadowhunters Academy Simon that we kind of like got a glimpse of at the end. Yeah,
That was
because
really
he becomes a Shadowhunter like mentor basically.
Well, so what do they call them? They call them the demon
Deputized.
Downworld deputies.
Downworld deputies. Okay, so is that essentially what's in the
That's
book?
my
As
newest
the,
dream.
No, there's a whole
No.
other series where Simon literally becomes like a Shadowhunter, and
Yeah.
he
Thank you, that was annoying.
he starts training like the new generation of Shadowhunters
Fun.
because he survives, right? Because he doesn't age.
Yeah.
So he stays, and because Jace is training him to become a Shadowhunter, really.
Yeah, and I love that scene. I always
It's
Such a
so
good
good.
one.
They killed that fight.
it
They
was.
did.
And we see Sizzy hopefully for life.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Sizzy for
100%.
life.
No, they
Not-
deserve it, and they're so attractive. Don't you think? Like just together.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally thought when I watched it that they would make beautiful babies.
Yes.
It's true.
Like,
would have.
they're so. I mean, everyone is, but I'm like, that moment when
Oh.
she turns and she looks at him.
Yeah,
and he
Yeah.
brought
that's
her
so
lo-
cute.
Like the babies
my
are so
God.
ideal.
They're
Oh,
so perfect.
Yeah.
Are you guys not
But I
aware that
actually-
your entire cast is ridiculously good looking?
No, we actually, starting with season 1, every time they would cast somebody else, I think it started when they cast you, we just looked around and we're like, how do they keep casting these amazing, attractive people? Everybody's so
It's-
attractive.
when I got to set and they told me, because when I auditioned for the show, I had a shaved head, and I assumed that they were going to keep that because I kind of looked like Valentine. And then I got there, they had asked me to grow my hair out a little, like as much as possible, and I got there, and they're like, Nancy, our hair person, was like, so we're going to dye your hair, and I was like, brown? She was like, no, red. And I was like, no, no, what? She was like, yeah, and then she showed me photos, which made it even worse. And I was like, I'm going to be the red-headed stepchild of the most beautiful cast on TV. Absolutely not. Then she dyed it and started blow-drying my hair, and I could see how red it was. I legitimately had tears in my eyes because I was like, oh my God, I am so ugly. And I felt like that, you know the girl every season on American
Yes.
Idol?
Top model.
Top model who cries when she gets a makeover.
Yep.
And every time I've been like, it's just hair, get over it. And I was looking at myself and I was like, you will not be that girl.
You will not be a...
No, you just have the cheekbones that we just had to do
Yeah.
something to level the playing field.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
100%.
So
Well, we need to talk about the final moment, dear Lord, okay, of Shadowhunters, which is Jace and Clary, and it is the most romantic, sweetest thing in the whole world. So Clary has just been, whatever, she has powers above the angels. What's above an angel?
Love.
Love.
Oh.
Yeah, look.
Kat McNamara never meets a beat.
And I want those paintings. What were those paintings?
So that was an artist that Todd and Darren had actually found, I think a local Toronto artist, if I'm not mistaken. And ultimately, I think the concept behind that was the fact that artist Clary, let's call her, Brooklyn Academy of Art Clary, post Shadowworld Clary, kept having these maybe dreams, maybe visions, maybe fragments of what was left of her time in the Shadow World. And because of, let's just call it because of her connection to Jace, it was so strong she couldn't shake it. And that was sort of the muse for her art, were these fragments of colors and magic and powers and things that she didn't understand because she no longer had the sight. She no longer had the comprehension for the Shadow World. So the only way she could express that and work through that was through this sort of abstract art. Whereas in season 1, when we first saw her do this indicative of Shadow World art, it was very all these gothic, you know, creatures and angels, and it's sort of shifted and changed because she no longer has that strong of a connection, but it's still there.
It's still there. It's like love conquers all.
Yeah.
Which
Yes.
was something that the writers pulled through. Like even with mine and Clary's story with the rune, Jace was always the thing to anchor her and bring her back. And even when she went full Dark Clary, she was still with Jace. You know, like that was a constant thing. So it was really nice to actually see that.
She's like tethered to him.
Yes.
Even if she lost the sight.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't want to say a rom-com, but like any kind of romantic movie that you see. Do I know you?
an amnesia movie. There's a lot of amnesia movies,
Yeah.
you know, and one of those, and they reunite, and it is beautiful, and then it ends, and then you see like the Shadowhunter ruin in the sky. So I'm just gonna ask you, Kat, what does that mean to you? Does that mean that Clary could potentially be going back into the shadow world, or is that just a nice little sentiment?
I think there are many versions of what could have been. Maybe she never really forgot. Maybe she had to play along. Maybe her memories have flooded back in that moment. Maybe not. Personally, what I think it is there's people in life that we are connected to. There's people in life that we're drawn to. And this whole thing started with the two of them bumping into each other in that alley outside Pandemonium. And both of them being literally stopped in their tracks by each other. And they're drawn to each other. They always will be. They have this electricity. And that's ultimately what's bringing them back together, whether it's the reason Jace somehow can't stop following her, and she somehow sees him through the fact that she doesn't even have the sight anymore, and feels compelled to follow this stranger out into an alley and go, wait a second, you're familiar, something's coming back, I see it. Jace.
Mm-hmm.
And she almost forgets to introduce herself because somehow she knows that he knows. And that's this, and you see, and actually I didn't even know it when we were shooting, but they cut it in such a way that there are these little smirks and glimmers of recognition on both of our faces right as it's ending, and you don't really know what it means. But to me, I think that there's a connection there, there's a remnant there, and that will grow, and that will only, now that Jace has her back, he's never going to let her go.
Right.
Once he gets that little glimmer, he's never going to let that go.
Oh yeah, that's
For
all
sure.
he needed.
That's all he
going.
needs.
That's all
Yeah.
he needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it ends.
And quick sidebar, the shot going up started with a drone shot. That alley was very dirty. Dom and I both had pretty much gravel in our hair for days. I was sending Dom pictures for the next 2 days of things I was finding in my scalp. Through the wig onto my head.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Well, oh my gosh, we love you all, and especially you, Kat. You have been with us from season 1, and she was, you know, my first red carpet interview personally.
What?
And you were my first red carpet for Happyland. You took me with you, Yael.
Oh, that's
to
right.
Santa Monica Pier, and it was for Happyland. And so we've talked about this before, but it is a big happy circle, and we know that like Kat will be back for many other things, and so will Luke, and so will Kimberly, and so will Jade, and it's just amazing, and Dom, and Alberto, and oh my god, everybody, I can't even begin to describe. So thank you guys so much for watching our after show.
Are you gonna cry? If you cry, Kat's crying. Oh fuck.
I'm just feeling the feels. You feel the love.
It has this show. I knew from the second I saw the pilot that it was going to be a humongous deal, and it really helped me as a host in this industry because you guys were all so kind to come in and be with us and talk to me, and Dakota and Becca Brown, who we also very much love and want to give a shout out to. So thank you so much, and all of you guys continue to follow everybody because I still have hope, like a weirdo. Not a weirdo, but it's like the rest of the world that doesn't want to let the show go. So hashtag Shave Shadowhunters, never will let it go. But thank you, Kat. Anything else you want to say to us, AfterBuzz Shadowhunters?
I just want to say thank you. I mean, you guys have known me since Happyland, and truly this show I grew up on. You know, I started the show as a teenager, and now these guys have kind of watched me grow up, and they've been a big part of shaping who I am, and you guys too. But ultimately, if there's anything I've learned about transitions in life, it's all about the people that you're surrounded by and the environment that you're in and the energies that are around you that influence you and shape you into who you are. And I honestly couldn't have asked for a better casting crew, for a better story, a better character, a better media experience, a better fandom. It really has made me the person I am today. And it's always going to be a part of who I am.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Love you
Guys,
guys.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that. But no, like I said before, Shadowhunters was the very first after show I ever been on. It was the first show I ever hosted. And just getting to jump into the hosting world and like immediately start interviewing you guys was such an experience and such a starting point of my hosting career. And so I love every one of you guys for coming in so many times and for just really being so welcoming and loving to us, because you guys seemed like you were just as excited to talk to us as we were to talk to you.
Yeah.
And it just like meant the world. So thank you guys again from the bottom of our hearts. We love you and we cannot thank you guys enough.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Can you make sure, in case somebody for whatever reason doesn't know how to find you on socials, where you all are?
Yeah. It's my name, Luke Baines. Luke
Great.
Baines at everything.
Sue Murray.
Jade Hassoune, but no accent, at Jade Hassoune.
And Kat, everyone knows where to find you.
Kat_McNamara on Twitter. Oh my goodness, I don't even know at this point. Kat_McNamara on Twitter, Kat.McNamara on Instagram.
Yeah, what happened to at Kit Kat's Meow?
Yeah, what happened, Kat?
Yeah, we gotta know her real name now.
Okay, it is your fault. Well, not your fault, but you encouraged me.
I was like, I'm sorry, this has got to go. What are you, 12?
Unacceptable.
That's what big brothers are for, right? When I was 16, my Twitter name was taken. I didn't know what to do. I was under pressure, and I just made something that I thought was
It was
cute.
great for the time, but I was also like, you're a woman now.
Yeah.
We needed a name
That's so
befitting of
funny,
that.
Kat, because a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you're on Shadowhunter. Do you know Kit Kat?" I was like, "Huh?" I didn't.
That's me.
She's like some cool DJ. DJ Kit Kat Meow.
Thank you
if
all
I ever
so
become
much.
a DJ.
Thank you guys so much for joining us in the chat, all the fans. We freaking love you guys so much. You can find me, Sam Davidson, SamD43, Twitter and Instagram, Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
Kat brought us cupcakes. We love you.
Yes,
Thank
Yael
you.
Tygiel. We're going to eat them in the back.
Yep.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All the cameras.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.